We are going to talk about making amorphous formulation of otherwise poorly soluble small molecules. And as you probably guessed, the core of the company is a drug delivery technology. And as I already mentioned, we work in the small molecule space. And if you look from our perspective, there are a couple of things that could be an issue while developing it or have developed a product. And as Urban from Prosilico mentioned in the first section here, typical pipeline to drugs today, they are kind of growing in size in terms of molecular weight. They are becoming increasingly more having poor water solubility, and they can be challenging to formulation. So if you're imagine yourself being a target company with an NCE going through the development steps here, there can be a need to change actually quite a lot of many times your formulation. Some formulation for a polysoluble drug can work in vitro studies, and then you might have switched during preclinical studies, and maybe you go to Catalent and ask them to formulate them for doing GLP tox, and then you end up with something in cyclodextrin running phase 1 studies. And that's just an example. It doesn't have to be like that, of course. Then if you come out on the other end, it can be that you have a really nice efficacious compound, but the final product might exhibit quite poor poor bioavailability, and then it might require high API dosing to kind of get the systemic exposure that you want. So this is a little bit the scene that we are playing with our technology. So the technology base in our company is a mesoporous magnesium carbonate. It's a particular powder that we use to load the drugs into. And the drug delivery process is quite simple. You use solvent-based evaporation. You load it into the pores, the small molecule into the pores of the mesoporous system, and you get the amorphous stable drug. And we get quite high drug loads, and it's a kind of straightforward process, so we can use standard process equipment. And we have like 2-3 years data of amorphous stability in our system, so we know it works. And it's magnesium carbonate, so it's quite known to be to most people, and most people use it in the common forms like magnesite or chalk. Our product looks a bit different than chalk, of course, but it's still magnesium carbonate. And today we focus only on oral products. So we have that, of course, with technical grade, but also available for clinical use, which we manufacture with Arena in Södertälje. So, using this technology, we are focusing on 2 different strategic areas. One is what we call drug enablement, mostly focus on compounds in development, where we can work with them and offer a formulation that you can use throughout the different development stages I mentioned earlier. And obviously we are also looking into already approved products where we can perhaps tweak the formulation using our technology, and we call that area drug improvement. And like many other companies coming out from drug delivery base, you can see that coming up in different life cycle management strategies. You can use it to reduce the API quantities you want to use, because you can increase the bioavailability. And if you can reduce API quantities, you can also potentially improve the side effect profile. So how does it look then? Well, we have kind of worked with our platform for a couple of years, and we have benchmarked it versus quite a lot of existing products out there. We have probably more than 20 different APIs where we have benchmarked our MNC formulation versus the originator product. I just put up one here, which is sorafenib. It's a really nice product from Bayer. I can see you nodding there. Nexavar. It's been around for the market for some time, and it's for hepatocellular cancer, or renal cell cancer is the most indicated use there. But I think that, so we thought that's when we kind of evaluated it, we saw that this could be a good match for our platform. So let's try it. So we load it, we do dissolution testing, and in the end we do in vivo studies. Here's the rat model that we're using, and you can see when we compare head to head with Nexavar, with the sorafenib, the MNC sorafenib formulation, you get like at least 5 times improved AUC. And I think that those expected benefits, if we would kind of pursue that all the way to the market, you could reduce the API dose and still achieve an equivalent clinical efficacy. Potentially, you can reduce the side effect profile, because if I'm not misremembering, I think that's you have a quite GI toxicity from these kind of products typically around there. So if you can have a potential impact, that will have a great patient benefit. And obviously, if it's interesting, you can get a new formulation patent and work like that. It is a reformulation, so we would probably, in this case, if we would continue with Sarafin, we'll probably follow the FDA 505(b)(2) pathways or similar with EMA. So what is the status for us today? So we have quite recently just nominated the first API that we will pursue into product development, and we are expecting to be entering the clinical stages already, perhaps at the end of the summer next year or in autumn next year. We're also working on a second product there that we potentially would nominate at the end of this year. So this is kind of following the current strategy where we have put most of our focus today, which is actually looking on already approved APIs, because it's kind of reducing the risk for us a little bit to work with something that is already known and approved. If we would work with an NC, which is obviously very interesting, but then the risk would probably shift towards the new chemical entity. And one of the goals we want to reach with doing a clinical trial is actually to prove that this how it works and to get the regulatory approval. And at the same time, we do the scale up, so we're ready for taking on further if we want to. Our business model is to build a proprietary pipeline to seek co-development agreements or strategic partnerships. And as it looks today, we are going to initiate the next financing round in the end of this year. So just a quick summary, and it's good timing for that, I can see. So we have the PharmaMC, which is a drug delivery technology for making amorphous version of small molecules. And our goal is to advance our pipeline and drive them into at least the first clinical stage. And if everything goes according to plan, we will be initiating our first clinical trial at the end of 2024. And with that, I thank you for your attention.